Hello. Today on the Inconceivable Says podcast, we're going to be talking about the impossible actually coming to pass, meaning the Shure SM58 is no longer $100. We'll also be discussing the microphone that I am using to record this with, the Aston Apex, and other stuff too, so go ahead and stick around. Let's jump right into the bad news. The SM58, the SM57, the SM7B have increased in price, and I am sure that every other Shure microphone has also increased in price. This is world-shattering. This is something that I never thought I would see come to pass. As long as I can remember, the SM57 and SM58 were $100. I think they have been that price, save a couple of sales where it drops to $89. It has been that price since the 90s. But over the last week, we saw the price of the 57 and 58 jump from $100 to $109, and the SM7B jump from $399 to $439. So almost a 10% increase on all of those mics. Now, the SM7B really isn't that shocking to me because when I bought my first 7B in 2015, it was $350. In 2016, it jumped to $400, and now it's jumping up to $440. So it hasn't had that same consistent pricing as the others. And frankly, I am just completely and utterly shaken that the SM58, SM57 are no longer $100 because I thought that just like the AT2020 from Audio-Technica, that was the one consistent, that was the one constant in this world other than C. The speed of light's a constant, but I thought $100 57s, 58s, and 2020s were a constant as well. This means the world has lost all sensibility. The end must be nigh. The rapture is here. The second coming of Christ. Christ? Who's Christ? Christ is upon us. Get your water purification tablets, your MREs, and your bars of gold because hard times are a-coming, my friends. It's just shocking. I am being a bit hyperbolic, but I legitimately never thought I would see the price of these microphones change because they have been constant for 3 decades. All of the fun goofing and gaffing out of the way, why do I think the price of these microphones has changed? Why has it gone up? I think the answer is pretty simple. I have not seen anything from Shure announcing it, but I am pretty sure it's because of tariffs in the United States. Now, to the best of my knowledge, Shure manufactures their gear in one of 2 countries. That would be Mexico or China. Both of those countries are subject to tariffs, but the rates, they are vastly different. If we look at Mexican tariffs, tariffs on Mexico, it comes to 25% on non-USMCA goods. That is United States, Mexico, Canada Agreement goods. And if we look up some examples of USMCA goods, the AI-generated result is the compliant goods include a wide range of products such as textiles and apparel, automobiles, and agricultural products. So, if an item does not fall under that USMCA goods agreement where certain items are exempt from the tariff, now those items that are being imported from Mexico, that are made in Mexico and then imported, have a 25% tax on them. When we look at China, it's a very different picture. What I mean by that is the tax on the imports are not 25%. I found that they are over 120%. So if you have a $10 item and you import it from China, that's not $10. Now it is $22.50. So the tax on the item is more than the value of the item itself. That's a lot of damage, to quote that dude from that one infomercial thing. That's a lot of damage. Now, I want to point something out. I am not a tariff expert. I am not a tax expert. I'm a dope who did a couple of Google searches to understand the impact of these tariffs on goods being imported from different areas. That's the extent of my knowledge on this, so I could be way off base. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments down below. I'm probably just being a massive dope. My understanding is the tax on the item is not on the MSRP or the manufacturer suggested retail price, but rather the value of the item. So just to keep things simple, let's say that the value of the SM58 is $10. That's the wholesale retail price, meaning a retailer will pay $10 for this. That's the disclosed value on the customs form. That's what the tax would be paid on. So if this was imported from Mexico with a 25% tariff, $10 is the value. We would add 25% of that value, so the total cost to import this and buy it would be $12.50. If it was coming from China, value is $10, but now you need to add 120% tax on that. This would be $22. So a massive increase in the cost to acquire this, and then you need to account for that in your retail price to make up for that lost margin. So that's my interpretation on why we saw Shure microphones increase in price over the last week. I highly, highly, highly doubt this will be an isolated incident. I am fairly certain we will see that happen to pretty much every piece of audio equipment that is coming from anywhere outside of the US. Because that's the intent of these tariffs, if I'm not mistaken. Try to motivate people to purchase made in the USA products. The issue with audio gear, there are very few companies making audio gear in the US. So, there's no real alternative currently to avoid that increase in price. Perhaps we will see some shift where companies start to move manufacturing back to the States where we could avoid that additional tariff. But at the same time, then you're increasing the cost of labor, probably also a bunch of additional costs to ensure you're meeting all the environmental regulation in the States versus much more lax requirements in other parts of the world. So I don't know if we will see a return to the prior price for audio gear. I think this is just going to be the new norm where the costs are higher. Getting stuff from outside of the US is now more expensive. If we want stuff manufactured in the US, that is also going to be a lot more expensive, in my opinion, because labor is so much more expensive in the U.S. The cost of living is so much more expensive in the U.S. All the costs of doing business in the United States are a lot higher than Mexico or in China. So I think this is going to be the new norm. I'm sad to see the time go, the day go, the era has ended. I legitimately thought this, I'm not joking, I actually thought the SM57, SM58, and Audio-Technica 2020, it would be one of the only constants in the universe. They just stay at $100. Once the AT 2020 jumps up from $100, then I really am going to start stockpiling gold, MREs, water purification tablets, and Geiger counters. Because at that point, I really think the world may be ending. And I won't know what to do with myself or anything. So that is my take on it. I'm probably wrong. I am undeniably a dope, but I am probably wrong here. That's my interpretation, though. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I did check Shure's prices on Thomann, which is a European retailer, and I don't think they had an increase in price. So that makes sense. But I don't track the pricing on that site very often or at all. So I could be wrong. If you're in Europe or anywhere else in the world, have you seen an increase in the price of your Shure microphones or any other audio gear, let me know and let's figure this out. We'll get through this, use the gear that you have, and make stuff with it. Enjoy what you have. We don't need to constantly be buying new and new and new stuff. What we have is probably good enough, so let's use it. If you are a weirdo like me, I am going to throw some links in the episode notes and description in case you want to read up on tariffs and taxes and trade policy, because you know that's how you like to spend your time off work, reading legislation and finding out tax rates. I am such a weirdo. But I am sure some of you are weird like me and want to look at this. You love, one of your favorite bookmarks is www.federalregister.gov and ustr.gov/trade agreements, free trade agreements, United States, Mexico, Canada agreement. I know you. I know you so well. That is all the news that I had to discuss. I wanted to discuss it because I really believe this is the end of an era. The $100 57.58 era. Godspeed and good luck. Now let's jump to what I have been testing. Say it with me. I am on. If you're new here, you have no idea what that was. That's fine. You'll never know what that was. I am on the Aston Apex, this weird-looking son of a gun. It is a handheld, passive, or active dynamic microphone. This costs $210, which is quite a bit for a handheld microphone, but it does have that active electronic inside of it. It has two different voicings, and I will include a video of the grill of this thing. It is just a funky-looking son of a gun. This is an odd-looking microphone. Now, what the active electronics allow this thing to do is accept phantom power, hence active, and that increases the sensitivity of the microphone. So right now, I am running into the WYHTS, and I only have 37 decibels of gain on this thing. And I am getting pretty healthy levels around... what is this? -9? -12 to -9 dB? So this thing can get pretty hot. But it also has two voicings. We have been on voicing 1, which is kind of muddy, kind of V-shaped, a lot in the lows, bit in the upper mids and treble, but not too much in the mids. Let's go ahead and change over to voicing 2, and I will let you hear that. And now we are on voicing 2, and I am sure you could hear the difference immediately. It does sound clearer. It is certainly not as muddy, but this has a lot going on around 3 kilohertz. This is just... I can't even figure... That was a really good example of how a microphone sounds. You can hear that, though, just how forward and pushed and aggressive it sounds. It's a lot. This is a lot on voicing 2. I'm going to change back to voicing 1 because in my headphones, I don't like how this sounds. I did also use this in voice chat, and I switched between the voicings, and when I switched to voicing 2, everybody threw up their hands and said, "What did we do? Why are you torturing us? Turn that off." Turn that off immediately. We like the mud. Give us the mud. We want the scoop. We don't want whatever that was. Knock it off, bud. So, it's not just me who dislikes it in my headphones. It is other people in voice chat who heard it and said, stop it now. I have been using this for about a week and a half now, and I did record music with it. I think on voicing 2, it's perfectly fine on the acoustic, on electric, on singing, but it does have a very 3 kilohertz forward sound. It can work fine, but it's a lot. It's a lot. Oh, did I mention $210? Bought it with my own money. That's it. I'm going to be doing a full review on it. Been working on it for a bit. And that's what I have been testing. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Are you a Muddy fan, or are you a piercing 3 kilohertz push fan? What are you, Pusher? That's an X-Files episode title. That's for one person. Docky, a fellow X-Files. There you go. Okay, that's what I have been testing. Now let's jump to what you had to say. First comment comes from Toxic Piano, and they say, there is this VTuber, Midas, that did the 4 feet away thing with an AT2020, and chat had to tell her to put it closer. Toxic Piano, thank you very much for the comment. I appreciate you sharing this. I had to include this because I find this to be so wholesome. I find this to be amazing. It restores a little bit of my faith in humanity because now I'm not the only person being annoying in chat saying, please fix your audio. The fact that people are aware enough of good audio and bad audio to notice it, and then be able to offer very easy, actionable corrective items, ways to improve the audio. It warms the cockles of my heart. I am so happy about this. I am glad that I'm not the only one doing this, and just, the world is healing. The world is healing. Will we ever recover from $110 SM57s? I don't think so. As long as the AT2020 doesn't cost $110, I think we will continue to heal. We'll be okay. I think. That's legitimately the only comment I pulled. I want to address something, though. In the last episode, I did do a supercut of Alan from Soundspeed's podcast, and it seems as though the supercut that I made it seem as though he was attacking me directly. That's not the case. I was a bit hyperbolic because that's just fun, just giving Alan crap like that. But he dislikes the requests to do all of those tests. So it wasn't an attack on me. It wasn't a criticism of me for doing all of those tests. The criticism was of the people who constantly request weird tests. Like, hey, close your door, go outside, scream like you're my mom, and let's hear how much of that it picks up, which was a request that I got. Another request is, hey, can you use a $400 microphone with a $10 cable and converter? No, don't do that. That's my response. As far as testing it, no, I won't be doing that. There is a line. I do a lot of tests that may be silly to some people, that may not be valuable for everybody. I do have a line, though. Alan has a very different line, because he will take a microphone and stand in the shower with it. He will put a microphone through a dryer. Now, I don't think anybody's going to do either of those things, but he is demonstrating extreme circumstances. Here's the water resistance of this microphone because it has certain coating on the electronics. Here's how durable this microphone is. It survived a tumble dry. So I get what he was doing. I'm just goofing. Alan, what are you doing? Stupid tests, man. Who's going to be recording a podcast standing in a shower? Oh, yeah, I did that too. My bad. This was a stupid idea. I regret my decisions immediately. Okay, that is it for what you had to say. We are jumping to the value for value section because this is a V for V podcast. That means no ads, no paywall. Just send back any value that you receive, or if you don't want to support the show financially, share it around. Share it with a friend. This is a long-form podcast. I cover multiple topics. It does terrible in algorithm. Algorithm don't like multi-topic video. Single-topic video, good. Multi-topic video, variety channel, bad. So share it around. if you like it. First, we have 5 USD from Enrique Couto, aka at Incredibly Handsome, and he says, Double D as a big boy job, but he studied film in school and he is invaluable on my sets as an assistant director. Tell me when and where. I'd love to do a call. Also, thank you for such kind words about my movie podcast, You Mensch. Enrique, thank you very much for the 5 USD and the support, and you are very welcome. Thank you for making such a fun show to listen to. I am a horror fanatic, so I love all the horror episodes that I have watched. I loved I believe it was I Know What You Did Last Summer. I liked what was it? My Bloody Valentine. I watched that episode around Valentine's Day. Just great stuff all around, and keep up the great work. And I saw that Sound Speeds responded to you. As you know, Sound Speeds works on film. He is a boom op, so I think you two should connect and chat it up. See what's going on. What's good, what's good, what's good. I've never said that in my life, and I will never say that again. What's good, dude? I'm going to restart my camera. 1 second. Next, we have 20 USD from Liberty Dude 1775, and he says, My dear microphone guru friend man dude, microphone self-noise? Let me possibly expose my ignorance. Wouldn't the self-noise of a mic be tested in a sound vacuum? While doing such a test might not be realistic for our Lizard King, maybe recording the mic without sound in your box of doom might create a pretty consistent test environment. A test of a few mics with known self-noise differences along with a couple of dynamic mics might expose if microphone self-noise is enough to be truly concerned with. Liberty, 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 liberty. Thank you very much for the 20 USD. I really appreciate the support. I am not sure if microphone self-noise is recorded in a vacuum or if they actually remove the capsule when they are testing it. I am not sure exactly what the process is because I am a dope. I've never been in one of these testing facilities. And I don't think I have ever emailed a company saying, how do that? So I don't know if it's throwing the microphone in a vacuum or actually measuring the electronics, the noise in the electronics without the capsule. Not sure how it works. But regarding your recommended test, that's exactly how I would approach it. Throw different microphones in front of a coaxial speaker, level match them, then throw them in the box of doom with no noise playing and see what the hiss level is. And the box of doom, that attenuates signals by 29 decibels, 30 decibels coming out. So logically, it attenuates the external noises by 30 decibels as well. So it really should be the dominant sound source. The self-noise should be the dominant sound source, or at least be much more noticeable and comparable because you're removing a lot of the ambient room tone, the traffic noise, all of that. I don't think self-noise is the biggest deal when it comes to single-person recordings. But once you start compounding things on top of each other, or if you're going to be extremely aggressive with processing 20, 30 decibels of compression, then I think it really starts to come into play. Or if you are distance miking and you are distance miking quiet sound sources, then I think it really starts to come into play as well. So for ASMR, if you don't want that hiss, low self-noise microphones and high-quality preamps will be your best friend. If you're recording a super loud guitar cab, doesn't matter. If you're recording a super loud acoustic guitar, doesn't matter. If you're doing room miking and that's going to be the primary mic, I don't know if anybody would do this. If you're like finger picking an acoustic and have the microphone 3 feet away, it's probably going to come into play, and you're likely going to want to find a microphone that has a lower self-noise to avoid that hiss becoming a problem, and you would also probably want to avoid a quiet dynamic because when you're that far away, miking up a quiet sound source, the preamp noise will become apparent. So I think you bring up a very good point. that typically those tests would be done either in a vacuum or with the capsule completely removed, just measuring the amount of noise in the electronics or caused by the electronics. That's not something I can do. No vacuum here. Also, big dum-dum, I'm not going to remove the capsule of a bunch of microphones because I will break them. And how would you even... It does not compute for me, so I will not be doing that. When I do that test, Box of Doom will be the thing. I know I did the... I swear I did. Is self-noise really important? No, I did. Is preamp noise actually important? Is EIN really important? I think. Yeah, that's what I did. So I think this is a very good thing. In my book of what to do, that is a question that I had. Does self-noise really matter? So thank you for asking that. Thank you for the suggestion, and thank you so much for the support. Lastly, I have a mea culpa. Last week when I shared Rainer. That's not, wait, no. Rainer Richter. What? When I shared his super thanks, I said $50. The second super thanks was 75 euro. Oh my gosh, 75 euro. I've been drinking way too much H2O. So I just wanted to offer a mea culpa, apologize. I misspoke. It was not 50 euro. It was 75 euro. Raina, thank you so much for that support, for the continued support. Same goes to you, Liberty Dude. Amazing to hear from you. It's been a while since I got a comment, and I just love all of your input and your wacky and wild ways. You're the best. And as always, Enrique, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. If you enjoy this show being ad-free, it is thanks to these incredible people. If you want to support it, you can do so financially or just share the show around. All right, that is all that I have prepared today. Is there anything else that we want to discuss? I don't think so. So I am going to wrap up there. I am going to try to get better about writing stuff down to discuss throughout the week so I can have my favorite things of the week again. I have just been so gosh darn busy. I haven't had time to do anything. I have been trying to make time for Sopranos. Never seen it before. My AC just turned on. I lied. That is not my air conditioning. That is just a lot of very heavy rain. I have been watching The Sopranos. Very interesting show I have never seen before. That's going to wrap up today. Thank you so much for coming by. I know you could do anything with your time because there are a million things that could fill it. Million things vying for your attention. So if you are still watching or listening to this, I really do appreciate you. I hope you have an amazing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next Sunday, I should be back. I should be talking at you, with you, about you. Hopefully not about taxes. Because I know that's just going to drive everybody crazy. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Whoa. Boop.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.